friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you all can tell, is me reading some historical romances. I love me a good historical fiction. I love like historical TV shows, Rain, BBC's The Musketeers, The Bourgeois, still need to watch The Tudors. All that stuff. Love them. And I've read a little bit of historical fiction here and there within like historical fantasy, historical like murder mystery, but never historical romances. And I saw Lisa do something like this a while ago, and I've had it on the back burner for a bit because I didn't know what I wanted. So now I just said screw it, and I'm gonna try to read at least 4 books. It was 3, but then I got a little 1, overzealous, and 2, I had to rethink of my entire like plot for it, simply because, or like my books for it, because with HarperCollins on strike, I've learned a lot of historical romances are published through HarperCollins and Avon Books, which is their imprint. So I had to rearrange. The 4 books I'm going to be reading is Twilight of Moorington Cross by Abigail Wilson, A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. I'm excited for this one because it is queer. I have an arc called Queen Bee by Emily Howard. I've already started Twilight of Moorington Cross because my Libby hold finally came through, so I'm like 12% into that book. I'm not gonna lie, it's very confusing. I thought for a second that it was a sequel. It was very like in media res, and I was just like, wait. Like, I thought like maybe my thing skipped a few pages when I opened it up. It is what it is. But this is an adult historical romance following... Does she even have a name? Okay. Sorry, she didn't even say her name in the first few pages, so I don't really know her name yet. But it's following Amelia Pembroke as she kind of loses her husband, who was kind of okay. He wasn't the greatest husband in the world. He was meh. And she gets an inheritance and is bound to become, like, you know, financially free, which a lot of like women at the time would love to be financially free. However, the person in charge of that will, and in charge of her getting her financial, like her finances and that money, that bank, said that she has to marry 2 men that he has chosen for her by the end of the month. Now the problem is that Amelia is not interested in any of the men and is actually interested in a 3rd mysterious man that kind of popped up in her life. So to boot, she also has like problems sleeping. Like she has like really bad sleeping spells. Like she'll fall asleep for hours, kind of like on the couch, in the garden, random. And she's been going to a place called the Mesmeric Hospital that has been helping her kind of like get this thing under control. So it's just a lot of things going on. I don't have much to say at the moment because I'm only 12% in. So I'll let y'all know what I have to say when something interesting happens, because as of right now, I'm just confused. There's just a lot of information being thrown at me, which is weird considering it's a historical romance set in the Regency era. So I feel like we should have had a slight more build up to this. But we'll find out more when I get to reading. So I'll catch up with y'all then. Hey, it is now Monday night. I did get a chance to read over the weekend. I'm about, I want to say like 30 or 40% of the way through the book now, or Twilight of Moorington Cross. Right here, yeah, I'm 37% of the way through, which it picked up faster than I thought it was going to. Like, I was really confused the first maybe 10 or so % of the book. I was like, too much is happening. We didn't really get like a lot of like information on the main character or the situation at hand, and now she has to marry 2 guys that she's never met before because she's now been left the will for this random man she's been living with in the hospital, and it's just confusing. And then about the 20% mark, it turned into like a weird murder mystery with the romance in there. So it's just gotten a little bit more like, the pace has picked up a lot more, and it's a lot more enjoyable for sure. I'm definitely more like enthralled, I suppose. I'm definitely more like into the book and want to like read more of it and continue on. I don't know what, like, even now, like typically around like the 30 or 40% mark, I have like a general rough idea of what I want to rate the book. Sometimes if the book's like not even my type, probably even before I hit the 25% mark. But I don't know what I'm gonna rate it, honestly. I think I just have to wait and see how the romance itself develops and how the murder mystery aspect wraps itself up, because I don't know, like I don't even have an inkling as to who might have done the murder, the murder. Yeah, so I'll keep you guys updated probably once I hit like 50% or like 75%, and then again when I'm done with the book, and see from there what I like about it so far. But it's really interesting. I definitely do like, I am enjoying it. It's very, very, the romance so far is turning out to be kind of cute and soft, and we'll see how it goes. But tonight I'm probably gonna write, because I've been meaning to write this past week, but I've been a little pooped. Well, last week, not this week, the week just started. But I'm planning on writing, and I picked up crocheting. I'm making my boyfriend a beanie. Because if I get frustrated, I promised him a beanie, so that way I will continue to remain motivated, because I promised someone something, the fruits of my labor. But I will update y'all when I get to that point in the book and what my thoughts are from there. Hi! Hello, it is now Wednesday night. I've just finished Twilight at Moorington Cross by Abigail Wilson not 5 minutes ago. 3 out of 5 stars. There was I did enjoy the murder mystery aspect, was super fun. I think the characters were also really fun, and I liked the inclusion of a narcoleptic main character. It was very interesting to see how that would have been handled in like the 1800s Regency era, 1850s I want to say. It's about that era. Could be wrong. But I did enjoy that inclusion. I thought it definitely brought a different level to Amelia as a character. I liked the different men in the book. They were interesting, they were fun, they were definitely like a product of their time, and I liked the little twist that came with it. That being said, I feel like thanks to the synopsis, it was very obvious who Amelia was going to choose. She didn't even really try to get to know the other two men, or even like struggle with it. Like we got, I think, maybe to like 50 or so % of the book, and she mentioned how much she like loved the actual love interest, and I was like, okay, that's an interesting choice, but do you, boo-boo. Like, I think he's a fine love interest, but I was just very like surprised. But there just wasn't much of a connection that I felt chemistry-wise was there. Could be just because he was doing the bare minimum at that time, but neither here nor there. I felt like that was kind of the biggest hindrance to me, was the chemistry. There was a lack of it for these two love interests and this pairing. And I guessed the big plot twist that kind of wrapped everything up super nicely at the end, way in the beginning. Pretty much like once everyone started questioning like why these three men are in this specific timeline in part of this person's life, I was like, okay. And then the deeper we got into the book, I was definitely more like, So it's definitely that, and I was correct. So it was enjoyable, 3 out of 5 stars. I definitely don't think I would ever read it again. I don't know if I'll ever pick up another Abigail Wilson book, not because I hated it and I was absolutely bored out of my mind. It just, given this novel, I'm not like super like intrigued into what she has. But will I pick up a book again if, like, say I read a synopsis and I'm like, oh, that sounds fun? Of course. But like as of right now, I'm not super deep into like the Abigail Wilson pipeline to read all of her backlisted works. 3 out of 5. Highly enjoyed it. I think if you are trying to like dip yourself into like historical era Regency romance kind of vibes, I highly recommend this one, just because it is a bit lighter. It's a lot it's not a heavy book. It's not very thick either. I flew through it once I really got into it. And like it does come with like more aspects like the murder mystery and all that stuff that aren't just like focused on like the ton, the season, all that stuff. I recommend it. I think it'll be a fun thing. Right now, the next book after that is going to be A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. I don't remember a ton about this book. Let me see here. All I know is that there is okay. It is now Thursday. So I already made a synopsis, but then I was trying to read the book last night and I realized I misgendered the main character. So this will be the brand new synopsis. So the next book I'm reading is A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. It follows, I believe her name is Olivia Viola. Similar letters. So it follows young Viola, who after she drowned in the lake, she was able to start fresh. That is until the season comes around and she finds that her best friend / love interest is currently having a really hard time with her death. I haven't gone very far, but in the first like couple pages there is already a mention of like suicidal ideation, and there is like misgendering that occurs within this book. So if that's something you are hesitant on, probably don't read this book if that is something that will harm you or affect you in any way. Like I said, I'm probably gonna read some tonight, just because I want to get it cracked on. Yeah, I don't know last night where my teeny tiny top P brain thought that it was a F to M transition, but instead it's an M to F transition. It was the exact opposite that I was thinking of. So yes, but I will keep you guys posted on what other things I have, what other like progress I've made. I do plan on writing a bit tonight, but I think I'm gonna read for a little bit and kind of like get in that creative mood, get them juices going, and then go ahead and start writing. So
it's the end of the year. Everywhere on TV, couples and Christmas trees, gift wrapping and cheer. Just the worst time to be without someone special. In all the movies there, kissing in the snow, holding hands and mittens, baking together at home. Not like the movies when I'm walking in the snow, cold hands and mittens, eating gingerbread home alone. I dream of December nights, kissing under bright lights, snowflakes in my hair, carols playing in the air. I dream of December nights, kissing under bright lights, red bow in my hair, sleigh bells in the air. The only thing I'm missing is you. Stockings on fireplace, but in my living room, a single one with my name, knit sweaters and lace. Dressed up alone on the couch during cold winter days. In all the movies there, kissing in the snow, holding hands and mittens, baking together at home. Not like the movies when I'm walking in the snow, cold hands and mittens, eating gingerbread.
it is now Sunday. Reason for not having vlogged so much, my check engine light went off. It's been a lot of tears. But it's fine now. Jake fixed it. Jake fixed it. He's next to me. But I am about like 25% of the way through the book. I don't know how to feel about it. Yeah, almost 25%, it's 24%. I don't know how to feel about it quite yet. It's supposed to be like, I think there's supposed to be a lot of like chemistry, and I'm just not feeling it. I don't know how you would write this because I am not trans, so I don't know how is the proper way to like flash back almost or reminisce on memories between Viola and Gracewood, because I feel like that's the context that I'm missing. Gracewood is just in a constant mourning period over the fact that his best friend died and he was like a coward and didn't come back for him during the war, or best friend died during the war and Gracewood didn't come back for Viola, and Viola is just a heap of guilt because she feels like she should inform Gracewood that no, you didn't leave your best friend, I left you, your best friend left you. But then there's a whole like societal thing that she can't tell him because then what will he think, what will he do. But there's just supposed to be, I feel like it's trying to convey a lot of chemistry, and I am just not feeling it. So I'm only a quarter of the way through the book, so I'll let you guys know once I reach probably like 50% how I'm feeling, and go from there. But there's just not a lot of chemistry, and this is like the second book out of the 4 books that I said I was going to read that doesn't have a ton of chemistry. So I'm just like, do I only just prefer historical like fiction books, or like fiction as a genre on the TV screen? Is that where I'm at the moment? I don't know. But if we're going 2 for 4, I think it'll take a little bit of a miracle for me to get the for me to be able to feel the chemistry out of the other 2 books. So I'll keep you all updated. But yeah, also because Jacob was supposed to head to California on Saturday, we opened presents. We opened presents on Friday, but he got me a tarot deck. I have 3 now. I don't know if anyone else got me anything for Christmas after that, but I got a tarot deck, and it's a cat tarot deck. The artist is, I think, Brazilian. It's a cat tarot deck. This box, by the way, is enormous compared to the other 2 tarot deck boxes that I have. Like, My friend Steph had a pretty, I thought her box was pretty big for like her floral deck. This is huge. This is like the size of my head. But I'm kind of perusing through the guidebook just because I am still pretty new in like tarot readings. And I kind of have the hang of it, but sometimes some of the meanings just throw me off. So I like reading the guidebooks from any new tarot deck that I get, and maybe like it'll help me learn something new about the cards that I'm struggling with, or maybe it'll give me a meaning that makes more sense of a card that I'm already knowledgeable about. So it works out. And then he also got me this one. It's the guide, the Big Book of Tarot Meanings, and it's just like more specific, like how to read the cards for specific so and so, what it means reverse, what it means for your health, for romance, all that stuff. It's a very good guide, so I'm excited to dig into this once I kind of finish reading the guidebook on this guy. But it's a freaking huge book, like box, I mean. It's huge, but yes, excited. I'll keep you all updated on what I think about the book. I'm gonna try to read to at least 50% now tonight, because I have 2 more books to read, and this video is supposed to go up next Friday and Sunday. So we got some progress to make, but it's fine. Alrighty, so it is now Wednesday, a little bit longer than I would have liked to have been able to update this vlog, but I'm struggling to get through this book. I don't know why. Like, I am finally 80% of the way through, so I should be finishing this tonight, since I have like 40 minutes left in the book. But I just feel like the pacing is all sorts of weird. Like, by 30% of the book, they had like, she had come out as his previous friend who was supposed to have died in the war. They had proclaimed their love for each other, and then they already had their 3rd act breakup. And now they're together, but since society says, like, you know, it's inappropriate and all that stuff, she is now only his mistress. And I don't know. Like, in situations of like historical fiction, like, I both like books where it explores the actual parts of society that were like not great, the homophobic, the racist, the colorist, the sexist, the misogynist, like all of those things. But then on the other hand, I also like it's fiction. You have, like, as we've seen with Bridgerton, with the whole concept of like what if, you have that entire concept of what if to play with, and I don't know a lot of, like, I'm pretty new in the genre, but I don't know or have heard of a lot of romantic, like, historical romance novels where we didn't have clear homophobia still embedded within society. So I was kind of, I think part of me was hoping that it would be a situation where it leaned more into the fiction aspect than the historic aspect. Because I don't know how this, in the 80%, in the 20% that I have left, I don't know how this could end on a positive note. I don't. Because while I was reading around like the 50% mark, I thought that the only reason that this would, like, the only other things that could happen throughout this time was that there's going to be like an outing where Viola was outed as trans, and all the things that'll come with society with it. And then, but instead now she's his mistress, which again I don't think it's a great plot line to have. considering these are very real things that most likely did happen to a lot of trans women and trans men during this time. But I'm just like, I wish it had leaned more into the fiction aspect, because I probably would have enjoyed this book more if we had more of that. But I'm probably gonna wrap up this book, and then we'll start Queen Bee. But I don't really know what to rate it. I'm leaning toward a 3. It might be a 4 if the actual, like, depending on how the book ends. But I don't know, like, I genuinely have no idea how this book is going to wrap up in any way, shape, or form. We have added a new plot line where someone's younger sister is also queer, and that plot line seems to have been added super late into the game. It's already 80% of the way through, and this has just now been introduced. So it's just kind of a mishmash and a confusing moment of like, how is this gonna work? What is gonna happen here? And I don't know. And the sex scene is also like not my favorite. It was long, which like you guys are probably like, Therese, it's a long sex scene, what the fuck? But it's not so much that. It's like there was just a lot of like talking, and like yeah, the talking part where they talk about consent and like what it means to be like a man and a woman and like sexual acts, and like he even brought up that there was a cis woman who had like used like a leather phallus on him. My man's was pegged, and that didn't make her feel like less of a woman, and it didn't make him feel less like a man. But then there were parts, like there was like this one scene, like a whole conversation about like bondage, and he was like, I would like to bind you, and she was like, but I'm not in duress. And it was just like him explaining the concept of like bondage, and or bondage, and I was just like, this could have been an aftercare thing. This could have been a conversation further down the line, not during coitus. Like there things were about to start entering places, and he was just like, so bondage, and I'm just like, this seems poorly timed. But I'm gonna finish the book, and I'm gonna let y'all know what I think of. And I don't know. I wanted to love this book so much and just be so wholeheartedly into it. I don't know. Alrighty, I just finished the book. 3 out of 5 stars. It did have a sweet happy ending, so you don't have to worry too much about like depression at the end of the book. It does have a very happy ending, and it is very sweet, and it did make me smile a little bit. But that doesn't stop from the things that I had issues with, which I mentioned in the previous clip, which is pacing. Too much was going on. There's like a kidnapping situation that happened at the last like 10% of the book, and I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. The pacing was just really weird to me, and I felt like it could have done a lot more. It could have been better had it just had better pacing. So that's where I'm at. And I don't know, like I wasn't like itching to pick up the book every time I put it down, and I wish I was, because I was like, this is great. I wanted this representation in a historical fantasy, historical fiction, and I was just very much like, well, what do we do with this? Like, what do we, like, it's just a lot, and I wasn't the biggest fan. There was just like too much going on in the book, and then not enough going on at the same time. There was a lot of emphasis put on the romance in the first third, I would say, and then the rest of it was just pining, and then the mysterious random plot here and there toward the end. So I was just like, not the biggest fan of it. I did still like it, wouldn't read again, but yeah. I'm just starting to think that maybe I like watching historical fiction, historical romances, historical retellings. I'm just maybe not the biggest fan of reading it, which is fine. It's fine. So the last book I'm going to read for the vlog is Queen Bee by Emily Howard. This comes out, I want to say, like April 5th or 4th of next year. I have an ARC thank you to, I think this one was Penguin Teen. I don't remember. Let's scroll up. Penguin Teen or NetGalley? No, this was NetGalley. I saw NetGalley and I was like, yes, I must have. Yeah, because the publisher is Joy Revolution. But this is a YA historical fiction, so maybe I should have started with this first, just because it's YA, and I feel like it's an easy into the genre, but I don't know why I was like, adult, it's fine. This is a YA historical fiction. It says here, Auntie delivers a bright anti-historical Regency-era romp that is Bridgerton meets The Count of Monte Cristo, which are two very different genres. Very different genres. It says here, Lady Ella Dalby knows the exact moment her life was forever changed when her best friend Poppy betrayed her without a qualm over a boy, the son of a duke. She was sent away in disgrace, reputation ruined. Now she's 18 and she was consumed with bitterness and a desire for this is what kind of Monte Cristo kicks in, and wants to revenge her friend. She joins the creme de la creme of high society while withers away in the English while she withers away in her enemy is joining the creme de la creme of the high society while she withers away on the countryside. She disguises herself to get as a mysterious heiress and infiltrates the elite, but when Ayla reunites with the only boy she's ever loved, she begins to question her desires, whether or not her vengeance is still her greatest desire. So far, anyone who has read it has given it like at least a 4 or 5. I did not rate that bad. And it has an average of 4.27 stars on Goodreads. So I'm hoping I will enjoy it. Hopefully, this was the introduction I needed all along to get in there, in the historical romance aspect. Or maybe I just overthought it with the first 2 books, and I should have just been like, oh yeah, these sound fine, but I don't know. There was like a weird historical romance with the first one that also turned into a murder mystery, which I was not anticipating. In the second one with Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall, it was like romance, but then not romance, and I sat there for the most part. Meet my cat's curly cute tail. I'm Sherman. But for the most part, I literally sat there in dread that for the next like 70% of this book, it's just gonna have to be them dealing with the fallout of someone outing Viola. And then the like butt-clenching fear that someone would misgender her, because that was like that was a trigger warning, was that there was gonna be misgendering. I don't think I caught it personally, but that was just the butt-clenching fear of me that I was like, I really don't want to read about someone getting misgendered. I don't. Again, who knows? I had high hopes for that book, but I feel like, again, I don't know, something in me, something deep in my bones, was just hoping for historical fiction that leaned into the historical, and we didn't have to deal with the fact that there was homophobia and transphobia in the society. But Queen Bee seems to have a BIPOC character, 2 BIPOC characters, so we will see how this goes. But I have essentially like a day and a half to read it. But let me see, because I don't think it's a very big book. But yes, I will also table A Duke for Diana, probably in the new year, start that off, and maybe we'll see how I feel. But yes, I'll catch up with y'all with more of my thoughts for Queen Bee. Wish me luck, because I have a lot to read in the next like day and a half. Friday, and probably this is the first time I've had this overhead light, like the light for the living room on since I got home, since after my shower, and that was like about 3 hours ago. It's like 10:30 now. I've been reading Queen Bee on and off. I do enjoy it a little bit more than the first 2 books that I read so far. I think it's just because it is YA, and it's not so much that it doesn't lean hard into the like into the whole like, this is the Regency era, we have like societal things we have to follow. It's more so that again, it kind of does lean a little bit into the fictional aspect of it, where a South Asian girl is at the helm, and it's not about her race, it's about the fact that she's just a woman. which I really do enjoy. Like I said, I like historical fictions that do lean a little teeny weeny bit into the fictional side because I can just enjoy it. And my biggest question so far that I'm reading it is that she left society. She like was kicked out. She was sent to like I guess like a group home for girls. Not even group home, like what's that word? Correctional home, I guess. This is gonna mess up my color balance. Hold on, I'm just gonna bop the TV off to the home screen. See if that helps. Oh god, no. Just turn it off really quickly. But it's like kind of like not like a correctional home, but like a grammar, a finishing school, I guess. And she sent off to that 3 years ago. She's 15. Now in the present day, she's like donned a new persona, and her name is completely different from who she was, and she's now 18. And she's like, yeah, the pimples have gone away. I have filled out slightly, and I am unrecognizable. And I'm sitting here like, I don't believe that for 1 second, just because like I can see maybe if she went from like 15 to 20. I feel like that gap might make more sense as to why people don't recognize them. Just because when I was like 16, like, not to say I look vastly different than I do now, but I definitely was like a bit more pimply, more gangly, no curves, limited fashion sense, limited idea on how to do hair, all that stuff. Like, I think I just adored my straightener. Sorry. I think I just adored my straightener too much. But I can definitely say that now as a 26-year-old that I probably wouldn't have, like, if it was from probably, like, even now, like, going back and looking back to when I was like 20 or something, I probably wouldn't be as recognizable as I was when I was 20, as I am now at 26. Like, I have friends I run into and they're like, Therese, is that you? And I'm not saying I look different, like, you can still recognize the features, but there's definitely like an instance where, like, I think the 5-year gap would have made more sense over the 3-year gap, just because like your face does a lot of maturing and your features do a lot of settling from like 15 to 20. Like, by the time you're like 21, 22, like, you know, like your adult body's starting to settle. So that's my only complaint so far, is that she goes from 15 to 18 and everyone's like, I don't know who you are. Except for the Duke's sister, who's like, you look kind of familiar. And she's like, no, I don't. And she's like, yeah, you do. She's like, no, I don't. This is the only thing where I'm like, suspicious, concerning. Just because it's like, again, like, my sister had a lot of pimples growing up. She's still like recovering the scars and like the scar tissue and the scarring from that at 21. So I can definitely see like people being like, oh, you look so different without your pimples and the scars and the redness and the discoloration. But I don't think it would be so much to the point where everyone's like, yeah, I genuinely have no idea who you are now. Especially since like the people who should recognize her were people who are important in her life. But I'm about 50% of the way through. My tummy is hurting, so I don't know if I'll finish the book tonight. It says I have 4 to 6 minutes left in the book, so maybe I'll just like sit down and power through the rest in the dark with like the TV playing or something. I tried reading with music on earlier tonight and I fell asleep. Granted, it was a very long day, but I still fell asleep. So I'll catch up with you guys once I'm probably like 75% of the way through the book, or I have finished, and we can go from there on my thoughts and my rating. But so far, I'm intrigued. I'm like hooked and interested in the story. So as long as it continues this course, I'd say probably like a 3.5 to a 4. Maybe the 4 on the high, 4.5 on the higher end if maybe it does something to wow me, to pizzazz. But so far, it's just about it. I'm starting to realize that unless it leans into the fiction, I'm not the biggest fan of the historical part. Just because I'm just like, listen. If I wanted to live in the racism, in the sexism, in the homophobia, I don't have to open a book to do that. I can just walk outside and be like, I also like women, and someone I'm sure will probably spit on my face. And not because I asked for it, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, like, I like the more fictional aspect of the historical part and not so much the deep historical part. Like, I think Like, unless you have some fantastical elements in there, and whatnot, I don't know. I don't think, like, I like reading historical fiction as much, just because it's just, like, you know, you have a plethora of things to write about. Why would you include that in there as your main concern? But, yes, I'll update y'all. Ignore the hair. Just ignore the hair. I just got done refreshing my curls and my bangs looked fine, so it's just the rest of the head that I'm waiting to dry, and just ignore the hair. But Merry Christmas Eve. It is now like 12:30. It's not even 12:30, it's like almost 1. I really wanted to just sleep in today. I was like, my stomach was hurting last night. I didn't finish the book last night. I finished it this morning. But then my cat was like all up in my grill, waking me up every hour of the hour and on the hour, and I was just like, I'm just ready. So I finished the Queen Bee by Emily Howard. Hold on, I'm just making sure my sunscreen is blended. Ugh. I put a lot on today because it's really sunny, if you guys can't tell. But I finished it this morning, gave it a 4 stars. I thought that the reveal and like the throwdown and like the whole kip caboodle was interesting, and I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed the pacing of the book. I did like that it is, well, I guess it's not, the author put it as an anti-historical novel, which I prefer, just because she mentions it in like the historical aspect of it, that the show is often written by white people, and it discounts any brown person. Granted, brown people wouldn't have had the same power that these characters do in this book, but it discounts brown people living during this time. Same thing with LGBT people, because I think there was like a queer character who was bisexual or pansexual in the book. Gave it a 4. I did enjoy it very much. It was fun, it was entertaining, definitely like the highlight of the 3 books. However, with that being said, I don't think I'm super big onto historical fiction if they say too true to history. Like, I know someone's gonna be like, then why do you read it? And like, I like historical fiction. Like, I like reading historical tellings, like watching historical retellings. I love historical retellings, all that stuff. I just don't think that I am the right demographic. I'm gonna keep trying, obviously. I'm gonna have, God, this hair. I'm gonna have like 1 or 2 more books I'm gonna try to read throughout the rest of 2023 to see if I enjoy them or not, and maybe it's just like those books were just not the books for me. But as of right now, I'm like, on average, maybe a historical reader, just because I'm like, if I wanted to read about racism, sexism, misogyny, homophobia, slut shaming, all that stuff, transphobia, you know, the gamut of the phobias, I probably would just step outside or like read a book or like read an article of the news happening today. I don't need to reiterate it in my personal reading journeys, you know? But I do think that I will like be on the lookout for more like, I guess, like anti-historical kind of like fiction novels, because those are interesting to me, and I like being able to just like dive into the fiction aspect of things. But that is it for this vlog. Kind of a mid-reading vlog. I was expecting 5 stars, and instead I got 2 3s and a 4, which on average, that's like what? Gotta do math. That's 7, 10 divided by 3. Yeah, that's a 33%. It's not good. But maybe the books just aren't for me, and maybe I am looking at the wrong subgenre of history. Maybe I should be looking for more anti-historical novels instead of leaning deep into history novels or like historical fiction novels, that kind of stuff. But if you guys want me to do more of these videos, and want me to see if like maybe if I will enjoy like the more historical fiction novels in the future, let me know. I can always make a vlog on it and we can go from there. Maybe we'll have more luck. But until next time, hope you guys are having a wonderful Christmas so far, if you guys celebrate. If not, hope you guys are enjoying probably the long weekend that is Christmas time. And hopefully, if you guys are celebrating, you're somewhere safe and happy. And if you're not, hopefully you can get to that place in the future, whether it's you're going to be hanging out with friends or your chosen family soon-ish. Hopefully that's there for you. But until next time, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Hit like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Bye.